And we're live!
We're back!
Welcome to the Underdog Journey. I'm Wes, this guy's David, and between the two of us, one of us might actually be here.
We're both... I'm here. I don't know. You're not here.
I'm not always here. I'm not all here anyway. Where are you? You're in a hotel room.
I'd like to take a quick look back at last week's podcast when I let everybody know that there was a certain beer product that if you opened it would spill over. It was the Kona beer from the Kona Brewing Company. It was the lager. It was the Aloha lager. Absolutely delicious beer. I'm going to add the lovely Stella Artois.
Stella.
I forget. Stella. To that list, which literally seconds before the show started tonight, I reached over here and was just like, crack it open, and it went everywhere. So I had to run over and get a towel, get in here. I mean, there's a big puddle of beer. It's a thing. It's what we're at these days.
Sure, blame
so
the
as
beer.
You guys know, I'm traveling this week. I'm actually in, well, I would say sunny south end of Florida, but it's sunsetty South Florida. I'm here at Fort Lauderdale, and I'm having a good time. It's been great. We were outside last night late drinking heavy. It's the word that I'll use.
It's a business trip.
Yes. So, I love my beer. Mm-hmm. I do. But when I'm on a beach, which is where I'm at, I mean, literally the ocean, I can see it right there. You bring me a coconut with an umbrella and fruit and stuff in it. I mean, I'm happy as a clam. So I bet I had a dozen cocktails yesterday.
Nice.
That was spread over many hours.
Yeah, but drinking even slowly over the course of a whole day in the sun, like that's not. You don't even get drunk. You just get exhausted and sleepy by the end.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Last night. I did sleep very well last night. I had to clean up my beer mess over here. So I went through a couple. I went through a couple brews. There's a they had a copper top or something along them lines, lager downstairs. I tried it, and we've actually talked about this on the show before about getting an infected beer.
Yes. Oh, did it taste kind of skunky?
The over metallic and kind of bitter bite of it.
Yep.
So it wasn't terrible. But they've got a little bit of work to do to get that worked out, and that would be a good one. Or I'd have brought that up here.
Yeah.
And then I tried, good old-fashioned Yuengling, which, in case you guys don't know, is the actual oldest brewery in the United States. Some Yuengling lager, but I decided to go with the Stella Artois, which, if you're in Europe, they call this, or in Great Britain, they call this. We have the white T-shirts we call wife beater shirts here.
Right.
We're seeing something on our screen. I don't know what this is. What's going on here?
You're seeing, and I'm prepping, so I'm sharing my screen with you. So
okay. Oh, I got my screens backwards. I'm sorry. Usually I keep what's happening on our show, like what's the live stream that you guys get to see. I keep on the main screen here, and I keep on my second screen the conversation between Wes and I've got it backwards tonight. So, man, it's been just a twisted thing here because I forgot my 4K camera.
Come on, man.
So, you guys are only seeing me in 1080p tonight, so I apologize for that. I usually look better than this.
I thought your resolution looked off today.
Yes, I was a little more pixelated than normal.
I was going to
but on top of that, I forgot the USB-C hub that I have that allows me to connect my really good microphone in.
Oh.
So
you sound great though. Your audio on your Mac is great. Look, I think you should definitely switch to being a Mac person because your video is great and your audio is great. You're good.
I look worse and don't sound as good. And Wes is like, let's go with that.
That's how we like it.
I showed on the podcast a few weeks ago, the ring light that I had gotten to do this, and I finally got an opportunity to use it, and it's got like different phases here. Let's take a look. Let's see. What's it look like there? Oh. There we go. Now it's like a crazier, like bluer light.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with that. There we go. Bright white light. But there's a nice warm. So I'm gonna stick with that. Nice and warm. I'm a nice warm feller.
I think I've always said that about you, David. I've always said that.
Indeed, he sent it to me on my Valentine's Day card. So What are you drinking tonight, West?
So you're drinking a Stella. I'm actually drinking some, I was going to say some good beer, but you know what? Stella's actually good beer. I'm not going to knock it. It's nice, crisp, refreshing. I got no problem with Stella. I actually have from our local bottle shop, Perfect Pour Beverage Company here in Dublin, Ohio. So if you're in Dublin, go to Perfect Pour. We're not sponsored. I just really like that place. They will talk your ear off about beer all day long. I'm starting out with an American cream ale from Dancing Gnome Brewery in Pennsylvania. Very, very tasty stuff. Then I got a selection here. Then I'm switching to let's see, this is a ghost style ale with passion fruit and sea salt. Little wild there from McKellar Brewing in San Diego. Very good.
Okay.
I love the small breweries. They make the most interesting stuff. And then for dessert, I'm Irish. I got to go with the Guinness Nitro Cold Brew Coffee Stout. It's dessert. This is what this is. It tastes like drinking a chocolate milkshake. So good.
Well, what was the one we were having at Chubby's? I think it's called the Kitka Coconut Milk Stout, and that literally was dessert beer.
Yeah, and you know
that was a long time ago.
You know what I've been reading is people are taking beers like the Kitka or the Guinness Nitro Cold Brew and actually making milkshakes with ice cream and the beer.
Ooh,
doesn't that? I need to make one of these.
I haven't even thought of that. Cheaply Christmas, the world is just opened up. It's all anew.
We live in the best of times right now. I'm telling you.
Yes, I'm telling you. It's the pinnacle of all existence.
It is. So David, while we are living in the best of times, what's happening in the world? What's the big thing that you noticed?
Well, we if you guys go back a few weeks, we actually talked about, we're going to introduce on the first part of the podcast kind of a business news stuff. And how much we have hammered into all of our viewers, all of you out there in TV land or internet's land, avatars. I mean, nonstop.
Number 2's going to be released
for Matt
here. Yeah.
For Matt Harmon, that's ad nauseum. But we've talked about it at very in-depth intervals and really have gone into things. So I'm going to talk about the wide world of Disney.
You're a Disney guy. You come from a long line of Disney people.
No, my wife is a Disney person.
Well, by default. Look. Let's come to terms with it. If one's wife or significant other is into something very heavy, so are you. So by default, you're a Disney person.
Yes, by default, I do spend a lot of money at Disney. Now,
yes.
I noticed I've been watching this trend, and I've kind of kept it to myself most of the time. I've made a comment there now. Bob Iger, people know I am a Bob Iger fan. I'm a huge Bob Iger fan.
Smart guy.
But I've had the title of VP before, and no offense to anybody out there who works in a bank and has a title of VP, but not a bank VP. I was an EVP, I guess it would be the way to rattle it out with most people. Or more accurate, I was corporate VP. So, at the corporate level now, or the the actual incorporated part of it, president, vice president. Anyway, so when you get VPs in certain, I'm gonna go with scenario 1, okay, because Disney has changed. I keep looking up here where my camera should be and not down where my camera is. So Disney has changed. It's very important to understand this. There's only one of 2 reasons that this happened.
Okay.
Now, inside of that, there could be a lot of, this and, you're not thinking about this. I'm like, I get it, but it falls under either this category or it falls under this category because there's no other.
So repeat real quick what you think you noticed the change. What change did you notice?
Here's what's happened.
Okay.
Either A, they've had a VP come in and say revenue, and poured the sweet honey in their ear, and they've just kind of blindly launched into this, or they have collectively and intentionally, and this is what I think has happened rather than the other,
okay,
changed their avatar.
Now, what interactions have you had with the Disney Corporation or their products that makes you say that?
Okay. I spent a buttload of money with Disney. That's my interaction. And the fact I watch a lot of business news. I watch a lot of business. I read a lot of articles, and I ingest a whole lot of data. The problem with data, and you and I both have been on this podcast and said, we love data. Give us data, 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 data. Well, data is only about 30% of what you should be looking at.
You're right.
A much larger portion of this needs to go back to your core, and that'll go back into our into the roadmap, and you have your mission statements, what you stand for, what do you want your business to be. Now,
absolutely,
that's completely, that needs to be without metrics.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want your company to stand for without metrics. And it's very, very important. So what Disney has done, and this is just my opinion.
Okay.
My opinion is they didn't do this on accident. This wasn't somebody who came in and said, well, yeah, we can do this over here. Disney has changed their avatar. They are no longer the happiest place on earth. Disney has created and intentionally changed themselves to a luxury destination.
Now, I think you're totally right. I do think you're 100% right. Now, what would be your hypothesis for why they would have done that? Like, well, clearly the new executive that's in place, but what business reasons would they have for doing that?
Well, there's a couple. That's where it gets twisted. I'm not saying what they have done is wrong.
I'm not either.
Created the avatar and said, "This is what we are going to be."
Right, and if they did something that big, there is a good business reason why. I'm curious what your hypothesis for that reasoning would be.
And just to clear this up, they have a roadmap for this as well, which we're going to hopefully wrap up our roadmap segment, which has spanned, I think, almost 6 weeks. At least 5 weeks we've been in the roadmap portion of it.
The long road.
But all right, the steady rate under Bob Iger, the prices of parks, the things they've done have been very successful, and it has ramped the value of the company up. The new CEO, who is Bob Chapek, Paycheck? No, all the people online are calling him Bob Paycheck. His actual name is Chapek.
That's pretty funny.
Robert Chapek. Yeah, it is very funny. It's quite serendipitous that he is doing things that literally only look at revenue. He's not understanding the damage he's doing to the brand. Now, we call it damage, and the people who are saying this call it damage to the brand, but if you change your avatar and the people you're upsetting is the demographic that you no longer are interested in, then you're not damaging your brand. That's not damage. That's a reassessment of what you want to be doing. That's a business decision.
And that's what I meant. That's what I was kind of alluding to, is the business decisions that led to that.
Yes. So nobody has came out and announced this. Just I want to put this very clear. No one at Disney has come out and said, "Hey, we are no longer the happiest place on earth."
But by looking
for your family destination, we are now a luxury destination suitable for the ultra rich, ultra wealthy, and ultra good looking. So they invite me all the time, of course.
Clearly.
But what they did was they didn't announce this. It's all the moves that they have done over the past. We're just gonna look at the last year, okay? There has been some build up before that, but mainly over the last year. Once Disney came back online after the shutdowns of the global plague, sniffles of death, we noticed that they opened certain hotels, resorts first. Okay, you want to get the best revenue. You want to get the highest margins as a business, just in general. So opening certain ones that give you a higher margin is not necessarily a bad thing, right? I mean, margin is good. That's what you want to do. You want to increase your margin.
Dealing in business, that's what you want, right?
But the fact that the hotels that are currently closed are the moderate hotels, the only ones that are closed are moderate hotels, or the value resorts are the only hotels closed.
Yep, right.
All of the super high end, your Riviera, Contemporary, Fort Wilderness, the Grand Floridian, and there's one more, the Polynesian.
Mm-hmm.
All of those guys, guess what, bud? They're open. Value Resorts, not. I think the All-Star Music is still closed. I mean, there's no real reason for it to be closed, but it's still closed. And now they have started let's say you buy a $135 ticket, which I believe is what it costs for a day now, to go to the parks. And you want to ride, more than 2 rides, because otherwise you're going to sit in line all day doing those.
Mm-hmm.
You can now, they just rolled out a thing called the Genie that's going to allow you to pay extra to get what they used to do, Fast Pass, which was included. You had so many of them and you could schedule your Fast Passes and kind of, it didn't make you skip the line, but it shortened the line for you. Mm-hmm. And now that costs you $15 more a day. But wait, there's more. For most rides, there are some rides that have a higher tier.
Yep.
That will cost you $15 per person.
Right.
To get in the Fast Pass, not to ride it, just to get into the quicker line, the slightly shorter line.
Mm-hmm.
So it is almost a subscription-based rider. It's going to be a point where you pay a monthly subscription to Disney, even when you're not at Disney, to ride Disney. It is literally everything they've done. Look at the movies stuff. They just settled the lawsuit with Scarlett Johansson over the launch of the Black Widow movie.
You're right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things they've done. And, did they think about what they were going to pay her? Probably not. I'm going to guess that wasn't a huge decision factor for them. What they were wanting was revenue from the streaming service in. The Disney Plus streaming service is up.
They
the
make
ABC,
more money from
the ABC,
streaming,
which is separate, is up. All these things, all they have done is package. They have packaged and set themselves as a luxury destination, simply put.
Right. So with Scarlett Johansson, they clearly made more money from the streaming services than they lost from paying her out on the lawsuit. Otherwise they
would not have done it.
So I think what we can look at here is just the surface level information. Now, we don't have the deep data coming from Disney. Nobody cares the deep information about their business like this. But what we can look at is the actions and sort of, surmise what's going on behind the scenes, right? So essentially, there's a change in another one blew up on you. That's Stella's volatile stuff.
Literally, it's crazy. I actually brought the towel over here, put it on the towel, and
Stop shaking
so that it wouldn't do that.
Stop shaking your beer.
They've been setting it. Literally been sitting on the counter for we're already on this podcast for a while now. It's been set on this thing for 20 minutes before the podcast. And literally I'm wearing Stella now.
You're going to smell great at your business meeting.
What's that lovely fragrance you're wearing, Mr. Leffingwell? Oh, that's Stella Artois. Oh, is that French? Yes. Actually, no, it's Belgium.
You sound very fancy. You sound very fancy when you say it like that.
Yes.
So, but we can look at Disney's actions. We can guess a few things, right? Essentially, there is a change in business philosophies going on. So traditionally, you would look at the parks as not very high on the revenue-generating scale, right? They weren't really there to generate revenue for the most part compared to the rest of the company.
Yeah.
But the point of the parks was not only Walt Disney's original vision, but also as sort of a PR tool and marketing tool. They were there as a way for the average person to come in and relate to the company and dig into the company, become that much more invested in the company. However, now...
Let's just take a quick look at that. Wes, you're on a roll, and I love it. But I got to feed off of what you're saying there. Because let's take one look at Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios has removed all of the Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
There's no longer. When I first went to Hollywood Studios, I mean, it was already Disney's Hollywood Studio. It wasn't MGM. But when I went there, backlot was already gone, but you were still able to go and you used to be able to watch people do the drawings and the pictures, and they showed you the animation part of it. And I got to tell you, they've put in Toy Story Land. They've got Star Wars Land, which I'll be seeing next month. I haven't gotten there since it's open, but I'll be seeing
Star
it
Wars.
next month.
Yeah.
And I don't really care about, I mean, Toy Story was an okay show to me. I know a lot of people just really bought into that. It wasn't for me, but guess what? I'm not their demographic. I'm not their market. I'm okay with that. But even Star Wars Land, I can tell you right now, before I've been to Star Wars Land, I miss what used to be there that made it Hollywood Studios.
Right.
Or the actual studio part of it, kind of seeing the behind the scenes, the people working and doing the drawings, how they would have the sketch drawing here and they have a base picture in, and then it would become the base picture, and they're taking Mickey Mouse's hand, just going from here to here, and they're drawing 17 to 30 freaking.
Yeah, and you could actually see that work done.
Yeah.
However,
and you can see that work done, and it was amazing.
Everything they do now is CG. So what's there to show?
Yeah.
You're going to see one guy sitting there on a keyboard, and
yeah,
it'd be different, a different situation.
These are not the droids you were looking for.
So whereas before, the parks were primarily a PR tool and marketing tool. Now, the change in business philosophy, again, I'm not saying this is good or bad, but the change in business philosophy is these need to drive more revenue to justify their existence and the investment of the company in these areas. And that's what you're seeing. And you're seeing this, I believe, primarily because Bob Chapek, didn't he used to run parks?
He ran parks. He was president of the parks. That's where he came from.
So that's what you're seeing now. So, and that's where the change in philosophy comes from. This is probably something that he wanted to do all along, but he was probably held back by.
So I don't know the story of how Bob Chapek became CEO. I knew the story of how Bob Iger became CEO way before, and I followed it a lot more because the guy made some absolute brilliant business moves that, I mean, to be honest, not a lot of people could have scoped that.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, say that again.
Bob Iger is a smart guy, so I totally get where you're coming from.
Yes.
He's a sharp businessman.
Yes. And, he would have been gone 5 years ago. But Rupert Murdoch, in the purchase and the acquisition of 21st Century Fox, put in that paperwork that he had to stay for another 5 years, basically, so that they could bring the company in. And he trusted. Now, this is Rupert Murdoch. Now, we don't go political on here, and everybody knows that. I literally keep staring at the wrong spot here because I don't have my camera. So if I look like I'm just looking off in the sunset, it's because I'm looking at the wrong spot on my camera, where my camera should be to where it is. Anyway, so we don't go political, but just in case you don't know, is over there. And Rupert Murdoch would not sell 21st Century Fox to Disney without Bob Iger at Disney to run it for 5 additional years.
Yeah, and look, Disney's purchase of Fox Studios was the most important media acquisition since Disney bought Lucasfilm. I mean, they essentially bought Fox Studios specifically so they could have X-Men back. And that should tell you something. I mean, look.
Yeah, it brought a lot to X-Men brought a lot to the table. But there were a lot of things that, with the purchase of 21st Century Fox that Disney had to divest in order to bring that in under, and stay under securities laws.
Smart acquisition. That was super smart.
Yeah, smart. Yeah.
Again.
Yes. Anyway, that's my business news tonight. We're already 35 minutes into this, and we have a hard stop time tonight of 5 p.m., even with beer all over my shirt. Oh, my Lord, I can't believe he seems to love that. Tell us your business news, and let's get to this, and then we'll get over to the roadmap. Hopefully, we'll wrap it up. But we're not going to shortchange you guys, even if we got to push this another week and go. I'll be back in my home office next Wednesday. I should be. We'll get to if we have to finish it up, then we'll finish it up. But let's, because I know there was a huge thing that happened. Oh, you got it up on the screen right now. Twitch hacks. Now, people don't know this, but we actually had some podcasts, which I don't know if we're still streaming them or not, but we had podcasts over to Twitch, and that's what the hackers were after. They were after our podcast. Nobody told them they could get them free on YouTube and Facebook.
That's true.
They literally went after Twitch just to get our podcast.
This entire hack happened specifically so they could get the Underdog Journey podcast. Again, they didn't have to. We're on Facebook and YouTube, so
they're free.
But this is actually a really, really big deal. This Twitch hack.
Yeah, let's
now look.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
So the Twitch hack, it's basically an act of, can you say hacktivism? Is that still a thing? So the people who released the data that they hacked from Twitch released it with some statements saying that they wanted to level the playing field with in the streaming world, and they wanted to, you know, make it so that more people could enter this and maintain the level playing field of gamer streaming. However, in this hack, they released, 125 gigabytes of data. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot. You're like, 125 gigabytes? I have a single photo on my phone that's that much. When you're talking data, when you're talking like code, that is a crap ton of code. Basically,
when you're talking about source code, so I don't know, West, have you ever done programming at a basic level, like
I've done a bit of
basic
coding. I've done a little dabbling here and there.
Yeah. You dabble. He's actually quite good at certain codes. There's a couple formats that I learned off of QBasic, and some of you guys are out there going, I don't even know what that is. It's ridiculously old programming code.
QBasic.
Where you wrote strings.
Yeah.
So you could start at 1, but most people just started at 10. You type 10, space, and then certain things, and then, you know, a command, and then at the end of it, if you needed to do something, you said go to, and you would say 20 or 2. Most people, again, would say 20. That gives you 10 in between if you needed to fill it in later. And you wrote the next, literally the line of code. And that one whole line of code could say, you know, at this vector and this vector, I want you to turn that pixel on.
Yeah,
that could be the only thing that's on that line.
It's basically the right of code.
Yes, but even that's a single line of code. But even with that, thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of lines of code can be kilobytes.
Yeah.
Of
talking about
data.
Bytes or gigabytes. We're talking about kilobytes. Thousands of lines.
Yeah, we're talking kilobytes. We're talking 1,000 bytes.
Right.
Is that, and then 1,000 of those is a megabyte, and then 1,000 megabytes is a gigabyte, and we're talking about 125 trillion million bytes of data.
So that's a lot of code that was released. So
that's
not just
a load of code.
So not just source code. It released proprietary security information. It's proprietary security information. Different proprietary tools that Amazon built specifically for Twitch to talk to other systems. It released gamer payout information. So anybody who has ever streamed and wonders how much the big streamers are getting paid, guess what? Now you know. And
source code's there.
One of the things that tells you this was specifically done for activism is gamer information, gamer data was not released. Which is actually gamers who have an investment in this platform got lucky. A lot of their private information could have been leaked, but it wasn't. All that was leaked was Twitch data, which is massive. Now, here's one of the reasons why this is so devastating to Twitch, is because source code is ultra proprietary. Now, anybody who's ever wanted to build something similar to Twitch, but just didn't know how, didn't know where to start, guess what? You now have all of their data. But one thing you got to remember is the data itself is still technically owned by Twitch. So you couldn't just like download all the source code and have a clone of Twitch running. No, but what you can do is you can look at the code and you can see exactly how they did everything. And you can say, you know what, I can do the same thing, but write it slightly differently. Guess what? You now have a Twitch clone. This is huge. And you're actually going to start seeing a lot more of this in the future. With the sophistication of hacking that's going on these days between this and that the pipeline hack that happened not too long ago. All of the different systems. They're
you know what? We're going to touch briefly on the pipeline hack. The pipeline hack. Most people are like, oh, they shut down they didn't shut down anything. They interrupted the billing process of the thing. So basically, they didn't know what to charge for that tanker of gas going out, or how many gallons or metric tons of crude or fuel or something went out. So they made the decision to shut down the production and shut down the distribution
the hackers, and
until they could do it to where they could bill it.
And that's one of the things you didn't hear about.
Where that was at.
That's one of the things you didn't hear about with that specific hack. You didn't hear it. It was implied by the different outlets.
Everyone. It was implied by everyone
that the hackers shut down the entire system. The hackers made it so that none of this oil could go out. No. The hackers shut down the billing platform.
Yeah,
that was it. Everything else was fully functional. The entire rest of their system was fully functional. They just couldn't bill properly, so they decided not to let the oil flow. It all comes down to a little bit of this and a little bit of this.
As a guy who has spent time in refineries and chemical plants and stuff like that, there is a lot of stuff that's automated. And, I go back to the Live Free or Die Hard, Bruce Willis. I'm a Die Hard fan. That is the...
Would you say that you're a Die Hard fan?
Die Hard. I'm a Die Hard fan. It's the pinnacle of Christmas movies of all time, all right? But Live Free or Die Hard, there's a scene in there which talks, the guy's like click, 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 doing his thing. Jim Carrey on the thing doing this stuff. And then the gas, he's like, they're sending the gas this way. How much? All of it. And then the place starts blowing up.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are connected to, internets and that you could possibly get into. But everything is also controlled by a backup hardwired safety limit switch that would not allow any of that stuff to happen.
Right. Exactly.
Don't ever watch a movie with me that has stuff like that.
These refineries were never in any physical danger.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. So you can't make something blow up, but you could have potentially evacuate a building. You could do some other things, or you could wipe out the billing process, and that's what they did during that hack.
And as we saw in the documentary Resident Evil, you could release halon gas into a building and kill everybody in there with the halon. David, did you know that halon is toxic?
Halon is technically bromotrifluoromethane. Just in case you guys didn't know.
I knew that would set him off. I knew that would set him off.
Bromotrifluoromethane. Now, if you get it in a fire extinguisher, it's bromotrichloromethane because it uses a chlorinated stream or a chlorinated agent that streams it, so it keeps it together instead of gassing it out. Guess what? Now, I haven't been in a chlorinated because that's just suicide, but I've been in halon discharges, and I'm just fine. So, in the 70 years that we used halon, not one long-term effect. The problem is it is absolutely detrimental. It stays in the atmosphere and is damaging to, the upper atmosphere in ways that, yes, it was great. It's still the best fire suppressant that we have ever come up with, as far as clean agent goes. In my weird brain, the way things work is I'm okay with it if we used it here, knowing that we want to get here to where we have zero impact. And that's kind of where we're at today, is almost a zero impact into the greenhouse gases, things like that. Because while I may not buy into everything, I still, with the hippies, eat some crunchy granola.
Get political.
No, I'm not. Where I don't buy into the crunchy granola world, I still want clean water. I still want good air. And I'm willing to pay a premium for that. And I think a lot of us are, and I think that's, kind of the way we'll actually end up going at some point. And, not to get political, because we really try to stay away from that. And which, some people, they listen to me and they're like, oh, Jiminy Christmas, who are you? Wait a minute, what? I thought you were this guy. I'm like, you thought wrong. But all right, so that's the hack from Twitch. We talked about that. We've talked about Disney roadmap.
Every time I want to get going on a rant, I talk about Resident Evil and the Halon scene.
Well, there is actually a show called Prison Break. Now, I'm never a fan. I didn't watch it. I'm like, well, once they break out of prison, what the heck is the show going to be called? After the prison break? So during the prison break, there was a scene where you hear shh, and you're like, oh, we tripped the halon system, and we're all going to, we've only got a short amount of time. This stuff is poisonous. And you guys have seen, if you go back in one of the episodes from the Underdog journey, you will see what 100 psi of just pure nitrogen does. We actually discharged one once.
That was a fun show.
Yeah, it was a fun show, but a halon system, a standard halon system, or FM200 or Novak, they are at 360 psi, or if you have some of the higher pressure stuff, you can get to 520, 510 psi. So you guys got to see what 100 psi went, and then you got to hear, and then just imagine 3 to 5 times that power coming out. So the fact that it was all like shh, all we literally at my old office, we watched that. We're just like, oh my Lord. Whatever.
How do you
so
on the roadmap?
Let's bring it up here. Let's talk about the roadmap.
The roadmap. We got some time left.
Okay. Oh, we got the. I'm sorry. The comment just popped up on the screen here for everybody. The Matthew Harmon. The no, someone in Hollywood got a fire fact wrong. That's yes. Matthew Harmon, hashtag ding dong.
It drives me crazy. Look, when I watch a movie and I see a weird computer thing going on, it drives me crazy. Look, CSI, every time they said zoom and enhance.
Zoom and enhance.
I can't. It's like nails on a chalkboard, because I'm like, that's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. I'm like that old lady on the Facebook commercial.
Yes.
Or the commercial talking about,
I unfriend you.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Zoom and enhance.
This works. Hashtag synergy.
Hey,
we got Matt Harmon on point tonight. Thank you, Matt Harmon, for joining in and chit chatting with us.
Would you say synergy with Matt Harmon?
We got some synergy. It's synergistic.
So anyway,
roadmap.
Let's do some road mapping. Oh, that's a weird.
Some roadmap. Where we at?
All right. So we got the roadmap going on here. And, that's really strange. All right, hang on. So you guys...
There we go,
Well, they can kind of see the roadmap. My overlay got weirdly... What is happening? This never happened before.
I'm sorry. This has never happened to me before.
This is very strange. I don't know what's going on. That's not supposed to happen that way.
Yeah, we'll work with it. Let's go.
All right. So... We'll kind of work with it. It just happened out of nowhere. It was working just fine a minute ago. All right. But technical difficulties are all part of live streaming. That's the fun of live streaming. So last week we covered the business ideation, which was basically more than just the business idea. It's the business goal, the plan, the mission statement, the target market, all the fun stuff you actually have to think about. More than just, I want to sell dog treats. Well, there's a lot more that goes into it that all kind of feed into each other. We also touched on defining the brand, which is more than just, what do I name it? Well, you also have to think about the logo, the voice, how to keep customers coming back with that brand.
Yes, and what do you stand for? We literally just talked about defining the brand with the changes in Disney.
Right.
We literally just talked about that. I mean, you need to define who you are and what your company stands for. The core, the word metrics want to keep coming to mind, but it's not the right word. Basically, that core idea that everything has to meet or it doesn't belong.
Right.
Yes, there are certain things, and this is very important to understand. There are certain things that you're going to be able to do as a business owner and a business developer that could make more short-term revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't meet that definition of the brand that you set, then you shouldn't be doing it. You don't trade off your value and your brand for short-term gain. You don't sell out to the demographic. You don't sell out to the anti-avatar, because guess what? You might see a blip in revenue, but in the long term, you're doing irreparable damage to your brand.
Right.
Bob Chapek, that was aimed directly at you.
Bob Paycheck, you're in trouble. All right, so we have, man, my stream is all over the place tonight. Okay, so.
And we're back.
And we're back. All right, so the next thing we're going to touch on is creating a web presence.
Yes.
Now, creating a web presence is a little bit more than just making a website. It goes into a number of different things. So when you're building a website, you got to think about, do you want just like a basic landing page, which is just informational? And that's fine. A lot of companies do that. In fact, companies who do that.
Depending on what you're doing, how you want to do your business. Let's say you had a strong customer support or customer service center behind that. You literally may be utilizing your web presence just to get people into your customer support, your customer service team, because that's where the power is for you. And then, there are other people like, West is, I don't want to inflate his head here, but West is a genius on the web presence part of it and how you can utilize a website to do a bulk of that marketing. And very rare you will hear me say this, the marketing and sales part of it, because I usually try to keep marketing and sales very separated because they are two different goals. They're two separate entities. But if you utilize, which I know that you have the ability to do, and you can see that at goingwestmedia.com, or I'm sorry, markettrade.com, that you can see how, I'm sorry, I just got sidetracked. I looked down at the last comment from Matt Harmon.
Matt, this is why we don't talk online.
Yeah, so you have the marketing and sales, and you can put both of them on that, and you can create a website that takes care of it, a good portion of that. I am a huge fan myself of anything that's repetitious should be automated. Automated. Right. If I have to run a report every week and then email it to XYZ over here, why am I doing that? That's a waste of my time. I want that report generated automatically and sent where it needs to go. And if all that guy does is email it up, then I don't even want to email it to him because he clearly doesn't need the data. I want to email it up. And you can do that with a really good website. Let's say I have the marketing channel that brought you in, but I also have the sales portion of it for an e-commerce site. So I don't need to send you into a sales team. I need to send you into the fulfillment team to execute your order and get it to you. You're not seeing my customer service and sales team. All you're seeing is the fulfillment team. Get the order out, execute.
Right. But and let's go more simply than that, though. So there's a couple different options you have with a website. And man, I don't know why it's doing this. Very strange. All right, so if you're just listening, it doesn't matter to you. But if you're watching, we're getting all kinds of weird artifacts going on our stream. Neither here nor there. Okay, so your web presence could be something as complex as auto-generating data to go to different parties for sales, marketing, general analytics, what have you. However, it could be something as simple as, do I want a landing page or do I want e-com functionality? And if you want e-com functionality, what platform do you go with? Do you go with a WordPress that requires a little bit more coding, or do you want something you can just build from a template, set it and forget it, like Shopify? Now, we need to do a whole show on Shopify. Shopify is one of the biggest companies in the world right now because it runs It's an e-com platform for websites that runs on templates, and it's such a robust platform. Almost anybody can hop on there, build a website, have it work, and have it not break. Which those words alone, if you have ever worked in website e-com functionality, is just mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
Uptime is good.
Right.
And it is not complicated. You don't have to know how to program HTML5 to make this work. They have simplified it. They have built a scalable product for you. I actually believe that we need to get Shopify on our roadmap, and we need to do it soon. Actually, not too soon, because actually it'll probably be early next year. The rest of this year is pretty full.
We got a few things going on our roadmap. So
yes, our roadmap. We need to sit down and talk about that. But we have a lot of stuff coming. And,
we have a lot of stuff going on. So after the web presence, you have your social media accounts. Now again, this sounds like it's pretty straightforward, right? Social media. I make a Facebook page. I make an Instagram account. I make a Twitter account. Well, you also have to think about, one, where are your customers at? Do you have a product or service that is more applicable for 18 to 30-year-olds, in which case you might be on TikTok? Right. Or do you have something that's more for 40 to 60-year-olds?
I'm sorry. Have we not talked about this?
It might be a little something called
a lot
for Avatar, and we may have covered that way up here.
It's not just that. Oh yeah.
In business ideation. So
yeah, business ideation. Okay.
Yep. So we already covered that, and it's something that you and I talk a lot about. And all of that, discovering who your customer is, discovering where they are, how they speak, the things they talk about, the things they're interested in. Guess what? All of that plays into everything down below, which is your website, how you write on your website, the language you use, what social media platforms you're on, how you engage with those social media platforms. And beyond that, when you do get into social media, you need to engage. Social media is not something you can set it and forget it. You have to be on there every single day. Now, look, this is what I do, and I highly recommend everybody do this. Dedicate an hour a day. Stay off it the rest of the day. You got other stuff to do. You're a very important person. You got other stuff to do. Stay off it the rest of the day. But for an hour a day, guess what? Go on there, reply to every single comment. Go on, find other people in industries that are applicable to what you're talking about. Comment on their stuff. Build your audience. Build your engagement. And spend that 1 hour dedicated to social media. That is your job for that 1 hour. Every single day.
I will tell you this right now. With all honesty, the Underdog journey does not do this. We don't dedicate, because we have all the other things that we do. We try to interact. We do a lot of live stuff. But if we were to interact 1 hour a day, I mean, this would be even, and we could grow it even more. And that's one of the things we try to do, is we try to give you guys the best tips, the best things. We have a lot of other stuff. What's the saying? We got a lot of pokers in the fire, and we have fun at it. We want you guys to do it. And I think we might, I don't know if we're going to do an hour a day, but I think we might take, over the next 6 months, we might take 15 minutes a day between the two of us, 15 minutes for Wes, 15 minutes for Dave, and we may go in and start interacting more. And what we're going to do is, from the day that we decide we're going to do that, we're going to set our basically the counter at 0, and we're going to show you if let's say 6 months, let's say that's what we want to look at, the growth metric up to that point, and then the growth metric after that point, because it's going to be significantly different.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and we'll show you, and we've done this in the past, but we're gonna cover it again. How to engage on the different platforms, because you need to know, again, people of the algorithm show, but you got to understand algorithms. You got to understand how the algorithm works. Look, you need to understand the inner workings of a social media platform more than hiring your neighbor's niece to run your Facebook page.
That is, probably better that you did nothing than to do that. Now, we're going to be getting into that. Unfortunately, we didn't get through the thing tonight. Because guess what? It's 8 o'clock. It is David's hard stop time tonight. Sorry, guys. I literally blew off my boss's boss to be here with you guys tonight. So, but I've got to go. And that's it for me. Now, I don't know, West, if you want to continue, by all means. But from me, I'm out. So from not quite sunny anymore, South Florida.
Sunny, South Florida.
Yes, I'll see you guys next week. West, I hope you guys all the best, and we'll talk soon. And worst case scenario, I'll see you guys all next Wednesday. Drop us some messages. Go over there and click. Don't smash. The like button, the follow button, the bell, the bobble, or whatever it is you got to do to make sure you know when we're on.
I'm on the wrong side.
Oh, there we go.
I'm on the wrong side.
Hey, you need to click over because they can't see us.
No, they can see us.
Oh, they can see us now.
Yeah, they can see us.
So,
on the wrong side.
Oh, okay, I got it there. All right. We're going to say goodnight because the kids and I both have to hamstray. We'll see you guys soon. Wait, we got to do it Disney style.
How do we do
We'll see you real soon.
We'll see you real soon. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
And we're out.
Why are we out?
Is it over?
Yeah, David had to run.
Aw.
He had a hard stop at 8 o'clock. He has a business meeting he has to go to.
Well, let's get these kids to bed.
Look, hang on. Look. There you are, look.
Aw.
Look at you.
Tell Dad
No,
how many
you're gotta
books
come
you
this
read
way.
to us tonight.
See, that's the camera that sees you right there. You gotta be in front of that. Do you read a lot of books?
He read us 3
Come over here.
books tonight.
You can see yourself?
Yeah.
Make sure you point at that camera. Point at the camera right there.
There you go.
You guys are so cute. All right. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off and I'll come and join you.
Yes, come on.
Go upstairs, guys. Go with Mom. Lock. Don't knock on my computer.
Come on, Unicorno.
I'm still on. I'm not still on.
Huh?
Somebody left a message saying I'm still on.
What are you doing? Well, you were just talking.
I am still on. All right, everybody. I thought that I was off, but I am still online. I think I'm still online. Okay. Well, Matthew Hamlin says I'm still online. It has been a crazy night with this platform. I think something must have changed, but I need to end this stream. David had to run, and everybody else who got to see my kids playing in front of the camera, you can see that they are incredibly spoiled and lovely kids. Matt Hamlin, by the way, we need to get you on a show sometime soon because we need to hear about your business and how you built this thing. So, also thanks for the heads up. I'm lucky I didn't say anything completely inappropriate.